Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Same Item Sold Twice, Managing Inventory in an E-Commerce World. Today's presenters will be Fred Lietza, CEO at Dydacomp, along with Joseph Fantozzi, who is our Senior Solutions Specialist. We're using the GoToWebinar platform, so if you have questions, we're going to leave time at the end of the webinar to answer them. You can type your questions into the panel on the right side of your screen, and we will get to them at the end of the session. At this time, I would like to turn the webinar over to Fred Lietza.
Thanks, Craig, and welcome everyone. I appreciate you taking the time out to join us today in this discussion about inventory, and in particular inventory in an e-commerce oriented environment. The agenda today, I'll start off with a little introduction as to who we are, what we do, why we're the ones presenting this information today. And then we'll dive into some of the specific business challenges surrounding managing inventory in today's environment, and of course, leading then to what can you do about it? How do you make things better going forward? So let's jump in and get started here. By way of introduction, Dydacomp is a provider of e-commerce and order management solutions to small and mid-sized merchants. Our customers are both merchants who sell direct to consumers, as well as the fulfillment houses who service those particular merchants. We have over 2,000 customers currently using our software today, making us the largest vendor in that SMB category for the order management-based solutions that we provide. You can see on this chart collectively some of the information in terms of the scale of our customers' businesses taken together, where they're looking at processing about $250,000 of inventories of orders on a monthly basis, managing about $4 billion in inventory, and tens of thousands of orders flowing through the system here. It's the experience from all these merchants, their feedback to us, our dialogues with them, our connection through our customer advisory boards that gives us the information that we're sharing with you today on this webinar today. So let's dive in. Selling the same product to two different buyers. The issue of the day here is managing inventory when you're selling through multiple channels. I've got 10 units of a product. I just sold 5 of them on my own website, 5 of them through Amazon, and then another 3 over the phone on there. What am I going to do now? I just put myself in a back order or out of stock situation. How do I deal with that? And that's what today's multi-channel type environment has really created in terms of challenges for your businesses today. And these channels, these can be any type of channels we're talking about, whether it's phone, whether it's point of sale, or a multitude of online channels. How do you manage it all at the same time here? If we look at the next slide, what are the type of things that can be happening? How does this situation happen? One of the key issues is integration. We've got different systems. Getting any 2 systems to talk to each other is a challenge, but now you could have 3, 4, 5 different ways that you're getting orders into your business. How do you keep track of what's going on through all of those channels? And the name of the game here is, how do you know what's available for sale, or what's available for sale in any one of these channels on here? So integration is a key issue in terms of what's the basis for the problem as well as what's the basis for the solution here. Nowadays, we see more and more of our customers listing products in multiple marketplaces. Some list the same products in multiple places. Others use different channels for different categories of products. I might be putting my more price-sensitive products or price competitive products through an Amazon channel. I want to reserve my higher margin, higher price products. I want to protect those, selling those through my own branded site. I might be moving excess inventory through an eBay or other channel, but I'm also using comparative shopping engines to get more potential buyers to look at my products. I'm looking at additional marketplaces, a Buy.com, for example, and I've got to manage the orders and inquiries and information flow coming in through all these marketplaces. Of course, there's errors that can be happening. Different channels or different marketplaces have different rules. Some require that you physically allocate the inventory that's being sold through their channels. Other require that you track it separately but don't physically segregate it, and so on. So again, how do you not only keep track of what you have, but keep track of all of the rules for how to manage what you have in inventory and what's being offered? How do you get, and how do you do this all on a real-time basis? Okay? As these orders are being placed, maybe you've got returns that are coming back in that you need to account for. You've got to manage all of this at the same time. It's a huge problem, and solving it is not trivial, and that's what we're here to talk about today. We're not the only ones saying it. Our customers aren't the only ones experiencing these issues here. I'm not going to read through point by point what's on this slide here, but basically inventory in a multi-channel environment is a problem. It's a tough challenge for small and mid-sized merchants with very limited resources to be able to deal with. So how do we deal with it? Why is this important? A lot of this comes back to customer service and perception in the marketplace. In today's environment, it's one unhappy customer can have a very big audience out there if they decide to post something on a blog or to your Facebook page, or there's just a way of expressing their level of dissatisfaction in a way that blows it completely out of proportion, and you as merchants need to protect yourselves from that. Avoiding the problems is what we're talking about in terms of the inventory management aspect of these issues. But there's also a very big cost and cash reason to improve or optimize on your inventory. You have a lot of money tied up in inventory. You're losing sales if you don't have the product in stock. You've got money tied up in inventory that's not generating revenue for you if you have too much inventory. And so finding that balance, that optimal mix is critical for you. Here's a few key questions that you can ask to try and figure out where you stand in this. Are you able to track what is available for sale? And that is not the same thing as what's physically in inventory. You could have items that are coming back in as returns. You could have orders that have already been placed through a third-party market like Amazon, but you haven't yet downloaded those orders and reduced your inventory balances based on those and the like. So thinking in terms of what's available for sale rather than what's literally and physically on hand is important to avoiding these problems. Can you allocate by channel? When an eBay says you need to physically allocate the inventory that you're offering through eBay, how do you do that, and how do you track that within your system? If you're going through a fulfillment by Amazon approach, you have another set of rules that you need to deal with. Where are you as a merchant able to record, to store these rules, and to make sure that you're managing inventory in accordance with those? Can you set your minimum levels? You have the experience to know that when we get down to this level of quantity in this particular product or this particular SKU, it's time to reorder, and lead times, availability of product, all of those things come into play with that. So your experience goes into play in terms of determining what that level is. But how do you institutionalize that in your organization? How do you get, how does the red flag go up when you're getting close to that level so that you know this is what I've got to do without requiring you to be walking through the back of the operation and the warehouse and literally looking at what's available there. Things, and then it can get more and more complicated from there. Gift baskets, things that you're assembling multiple individual products into one product or one package or kit. How do you properly account for that? Are you accounting for all the individual pieces? Are you accounting for the one assembled package? That can cause havoc in your inventory system on there, and you need to be able to distinguish. This is an individual, a single product. It's not yet part of the kit. I'm counting it as a separate individual product. On the other hand, I have these other kits or packages that have already been assembled. Now I'm counting those as one, but the reality is there's really 10 pieces, individual pieces in there, and my system needs to know that and have accounted for all of those individual pieces that are in that package. It's another layer of complexity that makes the inventory a lot more challenging, even for the smallest of businesses on here. So let's talk a little bit about what are some of the things that you can do to address these issues. First on our list is real-time updates. Timing is key here. Okay, because you can be getting orders in at 3 o'clock in the morning. Who knows when somebody decides to get on your website or an online marketplace or clicks through from one of their comparison shopping engines that you're looking at and places an order in your organization. It can't wait for you to get there the next day and then manually perform the processes to look at what you've sold versus what you have on hand, and that all important, how does that compare to what's available for sale inventory. So you need a system in place that's doing this, and you need a system in place that's doing it 24/7, because that's what your customers are doing in terms of placing orders. Drop shipping, yet another nuance in the inventory process here. Maybe the inventory is not in your location. Maybe you're using drop shipping for certain type of products that are being stored elsewhere and being shipped directly from a third party under your name. And then there's other products that you are maintaining internally. The same rules apply to both. And no matter where that inventory is, who's managing it, who's packaging it, shipping it, handling the logistics, the orders coming in and the definition, the calculation, the monitoring of what's available for sale is still your problem on there, because you're getting those orders coming in, and you need the infrastructure that can solve that for you. And finally, in the inventory management software, as a component here, we provide a solution that we call order management, but inventory management is a key component of that. We believe you can't manage your orders if you're not also managing your inventory and not also managing all your customer information surround that, because you don't know what a customer is going to ask. You don't know which product might be returned. It's all under the umbrella of order management. And so the comprehensiveness of your solution is key there. And now we come back to that integration point that we mentioned earlier. How do you get those real-time updates? You need to be connected to the marketplaces not only your own website, but to the third-party markets that you're selling to. If you're taking orders by phone, those orders need to get right into that same workflow so that available to for sale inventory is constantly kept up to date. What if you have inventory in a couple different locations? Now, another level of complexity. How are you managing that? What kind of alerts are you getting? How do you process returns or inventory in transit, and how do you account for all of that? That's what an effective inventory management system can do as a component of an overall order management system. A few other tips, things we've heard from customers and advisory board members along the way here. What you plan to do, you can have a significant impact on what's going to be happening to your inventory. So build a calendar, keep a calendar. What campaigns am I going to be running? When do my catalogs drop? What special promotions am I going to be on? Am I going to be featured in a publication or a television or radio broadcast that could change the patterns that I've experienced in the past? So those reorder points, those minimum inventory levels, they may not apply if you've got some special program or campaign that you're running on here. So you've got to think ahead, do that planning, and your inventory plan is now driven off of that calendar. Okay. When you're looking at multiple channels, all channels are not created equal. Which products are best suited for what channels? If you're looking at accessing a large marketplace through an Amazon, for example, that's going to be a very price competitive environment. Your products that are competitively priced, your margins are going to get squeezed a bit through competitive pricing in those channels. Make sure you've got products that are appropriate for that environment if you're going to use that channel. You don't want your high margin, more specialized type products going through a channel that's going to put commodity type price pressure on your product, and so on and so on there. And last but not least, I mean, relationships with vendors. I mean, these are the people that can bail you out when something does go wrong. I absolutely, have to ship something right away, or I really need an extra quantity of this particular product or that particular product. Keeping your vendors in good standing, they're going to come back to you for a favor and to compensate for that at some point in time. But that's another key element. It's not a system, but it's another key element of how you address these challenges. So at this point, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to ask Joe to join us here, and we're going to transition over, and Joe will explain to you what solutions we have from Dydacomp to address both the challenges and the proposed solutions that we've just discussed. So Joe, over to you.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, everyone, again for joining us and for spending some time going through this presentation. And I realize that many of you have seen the M.O.M system before, and what I wanted to point out is that this particular system is really managing customers and orders and suppliers, and it isn't just the inventory and the allocation. That's really just scratching the surface. So from this particular slide, I want to just point out that, I mean, all of you have suppliers, you have products, and you might manufacture them. You want to get the customer's orders in and out as efficiently as possible. You want to be able to market to those customers and get them to come back, whether it's with a loyalty program or with an email campaign. You want to be able to accept different payment options, whether it's PayPal or Google Checkout, and of course credit card processing. And as you go through your daily routines, what really comes up as a major issue for pretty much everyone is the inventory management. And to stay on target and to focus on today's presentation, what I want to do is spend a few moments just going through a little presentation of some of the capabilities right out of the box in M.O.M in regards to the inventory management. Now, I definitely want you all to reach out to me. I will be reaching out to each of you individually to schedule a live one-on-one presentation. My contact information will be available at the end, and with that, we'll just jump right into M.O.M and show you exactly some of these capabilities. So here I'm logged into M.O.M, and I have a customer's order on hold. We're going to come back to that one in just a moment. But just to point out a few things, I want to mention, we'll look up an item. And this is, in this scenario, a BlackBerry. It's just a regular item that you can pretty much sell on any channel. And when I'm in here, M.O.M, again, like I said, manages everything from your supplier your purchase orders to receiving, to the customer's name and address and contact information, all the way through all types of different items. And in this particular scenario, what Fred had mentioned earlier was you might have so many units on the shelf, but how many units are really truly available for you to sell? So what M.O.M can handle is it shows the units in stock. Okay, we know that there's 3355, but that amount there is what's truly available for sale. Because there are other orders that I may have taken, whether it was from Amazon or over the phone or on our web store, that have already committed some of those items. So that's why the net on shelf shows here that there's 4,300 available because they haven't been processed yet. Those orders, the pick tickets, the packing slips, the packers in the warehouse have not gone through and grabbed any of those particular items to start to fulfill them in process. So M.O.M, even knowing that those items haven't been picked or packed yet, is smart enough to recognize, hey, wait a minute, we don't want to oversell those items, so let's only account for the items that we have in stock. So that's what will be remaining, and this is just one of the examples. Now, what Fred had also mentioned was a lot of our users typically will sell on eBay or Amazon, but many of them grow their business. They start small. They have one warehouse, and then they maybe have a new section that they'll build that can have overstock, or maybe you want to have a separate location in the warehouse. In this example, my particular item, this BlackBerry, I have in my main warehouse, and I have a separate bin that's reserved specifically for eBay, and we'll come back to that on the next few tabs. But you can have multiple warehouse locations. Each warehouse can have multiple pick and pack locations where you're pulling these items from. And then also we have the fulfillment by Amazon, which is built right in with our Amazon integration. So just so you can see, and I wanted to point this particular feature out because when we go back to that order that I have on hold, I want to show you a little couple of neat capabilities with M.O.M in regards to orders that might have a back-ordered item or even a partially back-ordered item where some of the items aren't available to commit. So for instance, you have 8 in stock, but only the customer wants 10. So what do you do in that scenario? And I'll show you a few options that are built right into M.O.M. Now, as far as the eBay integration, which Fred had mentioned, yeah, you have to allocate a certain number of units. So in this scenario, and we'll stick with my number, I have 3,000 in the warehouse, but I might only want to put 10 on eBay. I know that's not necessarily a realistic number, but let's say that I had 100 in stock and I wanted to reserve 10 for eBay. That way, 90 are available for my web store, for my phone orders, for my call center, any fax-in orders that we get, or any other channel for that matter. And I don't have to worry about overselling it. I don't have to worry about someone on eBay trying to place that order, but then I've already sold it or allocated that particular unit for one of my phone or web orders. So this is just, again, it's basically an iceberg. We're just scratching the surface, but we can have your inventory information, your descriptions, your images. That's all great. But also you have other channels like Amazon, like Fred had mentioned. And here I might want to specify, okay, on Amazon, I know I have 3,200 that are available, but maybe I only want to display 100 that are available on Amazon. So again, M.O.M has this capability to manage all of these particular channels and reserve different units so you don't oversell. And another important aspect in regards to inventory management is like what Fred said, the real-time inventory synchronization. So as these orders are coming in and they're being processed regularly throughout the day, you want to make sure that you can enable live inventory synchronization so that Mom will automatically upload to Amazon or to your web store. We have SiteLink as an e-commerce solution. I'll mention that in just a few moments, but the inventory needs to be completely synchronized across all channels without having you needing to go in and click a button or click publish or any of that. Of course you can do that manually. Yes, Mom has the capability where you can click a button and update the information on your own. But that's not really good enough anymore. In this day and age, you want to have the system automatically do that for you. So this is just a small example of how Mom handles eBay and Amazon. Many of our customers also have physical retail locations. So you can set up a bin or a location in your store that's reserved specifically for your point of sale, for your retail orders. So if you have a little shop, maybe you put 5 or 10 items on the shelf, you want to know that, hey, those are actually going to be pulled from the shelf, but I might have 100 in my overstock warehouse in the back room. So with that, we'll jump over to my order just to show you what a typical order looks like. I'm sure all of you have had this particular scenario come up. So here I have a customer's order, and they're looking for quite a few items, and there's 6 line items on this particular order, and you'll see that the status here shows a couple different letters, and CM in MOM represents committed. So just like I showed you, I might have 4,000 in the warehouse physically in the bin that have not been picked yet, but maybe 1,000 of those items have already been committed, if you will, or assigned to a particular order or multiple orders. So here I have a few items that are already committed, and then I also have this particular item which is on back order. So what do you do in that scenario? Do you ship all of these items at once? Do you tell the customer, hey, Mr. Customer, I don't have this item in stock right now, but I'm going to order it for you? Well, you probably just lost that sale. And most likely they're going to say, no, never mind, I'll order it from somewhere else. Or how about this scenario? You have 8 available, but again, the customer they want to order 10 of them. So what do? Do you ship the 8 that you currently have to zero out your own inventory? Or do you drop ship the entire amount, all 10 of them? So on an individual order basis, even line by line, Mom gives you the ability to control which items are going to come from which location. And in this scenario, if I just want to drop ship all 10 of these, I can change the status from PB, or partial back order, to NB, meaning needs to be drop shipped. And then now all 10 of these items will be sent over to our supplier. He'll get the information, send out the order, and then notify us with the tracking details so we can keep track of that in MOM. And then in this scenario, again, you have the ability to control, do you want to what's called ship ahead, the committed items that you have in stock, or like I said, hold the entire order up. So you have a lot of capabilities here, and this is just on one order. So you can imagine how all multiple channel orders are coming through, they're going to be processed. You need to be able to manage this pretty efficiently, and we'll come back later to this one. So as Fred mentioned, we have this integration with SiteLink, which is an e-commerce channel that we offer, and it allows you to have your inventory to be synchronized live in real time. It's an option. You do not have to synchronize your inventory. However, it's highly recommended, because now your customers who go to your web store will see if an item is in fact in stock or out of stock. And that'll give them the ability to determine whether they want to continue through the whole checkout process and complete the order, or maybe go shopping somewhere else. If they shop somewhere else, you just lost that order. And most probably, you're not going to get that customer to find you again, especially if it's a first-time new customer, because how they found you, whether it was Google keywords or a particular email campaign link, well, now they're going to delete all of your emails and marketing that you'd sent to them because you didn't have what they wanted in the first place. So you lost that initial customer. So this is just one option and a way that you can set MOM up to synchronize your inventory with the web. And with that, we also have the capability where, like Fred had mentioned, within the e-commerce channels, there's e-commerce management, where you can have multiple stores that are set up. And here I'm just going to go into the define settings quickly And I'll just show you my Amazon. We'll focus on Amazon for right now. In M.O.M, you have the ability to set your merchant account information up, and this works with both the current Amazon SOAP integration, which is going to be expiring in October, and also the new Market Web Service, which is their newest platform, and it's right out of the box with M.O.M. So once you purchase M.O.M, you set it up, you'll have your merchant account information, you'll have your password and your token, you'll have all this information, and now you can control, do you want M.O.M to download new orders automatically? Do you want M.O.M to upload the order statuses and tracking information automatically? Do you want to synchronize your inventory automatically? So it's literally a checkbox. Do not process in the batch, or yes, process in the batch. And that's it. Now, once you have your rules set up, then we have a manager station that you can leave open running and walk away from it. You go out to lunch, you go home for dinner that night. When you come in the next morning, the M.O.M system has all of these orders ready for you. So you can control how often do you want M.O.M to continuously upload and download orders, upload acknowledgments and the tracking detail, or synchronize inventory. Maybe it's every 5 minutes. Maybe it's every 20 minutes. Whatever it is, you can control it right out of M.O.M. So this is something here where multiple channels are all being synchronized. It's all being done right from within one platform. And again, M.O.M, this particular presentation is really just scratching the surface of one major issue and pain point that a lot of existing users and even new prospects coming over have had to deal with in the past. So with that, we can talk about an item that I have set up, and I'm just going to use the M.O.M term. It's called composite. And there's a few ways that you can set up different kit items that Fred had mentioned earlier. And a kit, again, is basically we sell, let's say, a 10-speed bike. Do I want to display on the invoice or the packing slip all 200 items that make up that 10-speed bike, like the shaft and the crank and the chain and the 2 wheels and everything else? Probably not. In that scenario, you probably want to just display one line item, blue 10-speed bike. So with that, you can tag an item in M.O.M, the blue 10-speed bike, as a composite item. And once you do that, you can select what individual satellite components and the quantities that make up that main gift basket or that bike item right out of the system. So it will keep track of how many of the individual satellite items do you have if you pre-assemble the kit. So let's go to a different scenario. Maybe you have gift baskets and you sell, wine and cheese and crackers, and Valentine's Day is coming up. So I want to look at my items that I sell separately, my wine, my cheese, the crackers, maybe throw in a DVD, and I want to know how many of those finalized gift baskets for Valentine's Day can I create with what I have in inventory. So M.O.M has this automatically create the kit when it's ordered, or you can use an assembled kits function. So I want to prepare for Valentine's Day a week or 2 or 3 even in advance. So M.O.M has that capability to set those kits and the finalized products up and allocate the inventory properly. Now, the same thing comes when what happens if somebody wants to return one of those baskets or the kit. What do you do? Valentine's Day's over. So now, what do? Do you keep the kit together until next Valentine's Day? No, you can't do that. So what you can do is you can break the kit up if it comes back, turn it into its individual separate components. So, of course, you have the control whether you decide whether you want to keep it all together and sell it maybe at a discounted rate, or break the kit apart and put the components back together. So that's just one way to do it. Another option that we have is also a kit feature, and that's called a breakout. And I'm just going to look at that particular item real quick. And here I have a breakout item, and it's very, very similar. The major difference is, in this scenario, the breakout tag is checked. And it allows me to do the same thing. I can go into the item, I can specify the quantity. So this particular breakout kit is made up of a mouse and a few other, whatever these other items are, and it all comes down to how do you allocate the inventory. Can you have maybe special pricing? You want to offer it as a bundle pack, so if you buy them all together, it's this price. Or maybe you say, okay, You want to buy this particular kit, there's a $5 kit fee, but then I'm going to charge you for each individual item. So you can have special price levels if you want here, or just use the normal retail price. And again, if for some reason, worst case scenario, that item gets returned, Mom can break those items, that master kit up, and put it back into inventory properly. Now, while we're on this particular item, let's look back at my BlackBerry, for instance. And another feature that Fred had mentioned earlier that's pretty important is establishing your low levels. And here, let's just say, I know that this particular item is a hot seller, whether, again, it's my Valentine's Day gift basket, or in this scenario, just the phone. I always want to have at least 500 on the shelf. I want to know when I hit the low level. If you sell bathing suits in the summer, you want to know what the hot item is. Now, again, staying on topic and not jumping around, Mom has this manager's dashboard that allows you to keep track of what your top selling products are, what your worst or least most popular products are. So this way you can maybe do advertisements, put them up on eBay. Instead of throwing them out and taking a total loss, at least get something for it. So we could save that for a separate demonstration. But for this, here you can see I established a low level of 500. So I want to know when I reach 500 or 499, I need to know about that. So I can reorder whatever amount it is that I need to replenish to make sure that I have them in stock for all future orders. So right on the Mom home screen, there's an option where you can run a low-level product report. And when you go into this, it will show you a list of all the different items that are either in-house or if you have them reserved for like eBay or fulfillment by Amazon. So here we'll just do in-house, and it shows me here's a list of my items that have already been or reached their low level. So what this will allow me to do is quickly go and reorder that particular inventory from my suppliers. Of course, you can print out the reports and save them as Excel spreadsheets if you need them for a later date. We also have, right on the home screen, the back-ordered item report. So going into that scenario where I have, let's say, 8 in stock and the customer wants to buy 10, well, I don't want to drop ship them. Maybe I do want to send him all 8 of them. Let him know that I don't have all 10, but in a few days I should receive the other 2, and then I'll get those out as well. So you can run a back-ordered items report, and that's simply right here on the home screen. And you can also create your purchase orders, view open purchase orders, and again, keep track of all these different channels right in one system. So I would be glad to schedule a live one-on-one presentation with each of you so we can go through some more advanced features. Like what Fred had mentioned earlier about marketing. I want to know who bought what, and I want to be able to get them to come back for a particular, maybe, hey, you bought my BlackBerry, maybe you like my BlackBerry charger. So what I can do using M.O.M is show me a list of customers based on a particular item that they ordered, maybe based on a geographic location. Maybe you sell items that have expiration dates or perishable food items. Well, what if there's, God forbid, a recall on some of the items that you sell? You need to be able to find out who you sold that particular item to so you can contact them as soon as possible. So with this capability, this list management, it allows you to say, show me a list of everybody who bought from that particular bin, basically, that pick location. And then you can either send them an email, set up a phone campaign, hey, don't use those products, there's been a recall. So M.O.M can pretty much manage not only, again, the inventory across multiple channels, but it can also target your audience. You can get them to come back. You can use the information based on order information. And here we'll just use it as a simple example. Show me everybody who bought this particular BlackBerry, and I compile my list. So once I have my list, I can then email this. I can send it out to maybe Constant Contact, and then maybe do an email campaign. Hey, I know you bought this. You might like this. Or maybe you want to do, hey, certain items, if you sell automotive parts and you have, I don't know, a fuel filter or an air filter or something, or anything that maybe you know within a certain time frame typically needs to be replaced. Well, now you can use M.O.M to see, show me a list of everybody who bought this, and fire off an email. Hey, it's about time to replace that particular item. by knowing your customer's information and knowing what they bought and what channel they may have purchased from and where they came from, you can use that to your advantage to generate more revenue. So again, that's a different topic, which we've done different webinars on. Today we'll focus on the inventory management, but for the most part, you have the capabilities here in one system that will keep track of all of this. And whether you're a small 1 or 2 user or employee operation that makes your own products or sells your own items, to a large 400 user operation with multiple call centers across the country or across the world, M.O.M has the capability to manage and help organize your business. So with that, we'll jump back into my little presentation, and just wanted to mention a few of our existing users here are listed, from Trainer's Warehouse to Wisteria, who sells furniture. Again, it's not necessarily designed for one industry. You can sell everything from clothing or bedding. Chasing Fireflies was a small user that started out with 1 or 2 user licenses just about 5 or 6 years ago, and now they're a 45, 60 license user, and they have multiple web stores with us, and were recently acquired by the Home Shopping Network. And you can imagine how many orders they're processing on a daily basis through multiple channels, whether it's from their web store or eBay or Amazon. And if you go into integration and how to tighten up your inventory, whether it's linking through EDI to your purchase through your purchase orders, or you want to sell items through, I don't know, Brookstone or whatever channel in different retail outlets, Walmart, if you get an item that they'll accept, you can have one system, M.O.M, that links to everything. And it'll link your order processing to your Magento web store, or maybe you build your own store, Yahoo, and get your shipping process through eBay, your payment processing through Authorize.net or Google Checkout. These are just a few examples. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, you'll process those orders, and then most likely your accountant will want to get some information. So you'll send over the data to either QuickBooks or Peachtree. So now the accountant's happy. And again, I'd be glad to schedule a live one-on-one presentation with each of you. I will definitely be reaching out to each of you, but via phone, so look for my phone call. But take my number down, reach out to me if you feel you want to talk sooner rather than later, and then we'll go through a live demo. I can walk you through customer management and many of the other neat capabilities that come with M.O.M right out of the box. So with that, thank you, and I look forward to hearing back from you. I'll hand it over to Craig for a moment.
All right, thank you very much, Joe, and thank you, Fred. Just a reminder that if you have questions, please type them into the panel on the right side of your screen. The first question that came in, why can't I just manage my inventory in QuickBooks?
Yeah, let me start that answer. This is Fred. The vast majority of our customers do use QuickBooks or something similar to it for accounting purposes. But again, remember that those points about timeliness and the difference between what's available for sale and what's actually or physically in inventory. QuickBooks is not going to be tracking your orders coming in on a real-time basis. So being able to feed real-time inventory back up to your web store, for example, that's not something that you're going to be able to do with QuickBooks. And it comes back to that timeliness as well as that integration capability there, and just all of the nuances we've been talking about throughout the webinar about the available to sell versus what's literally in inventory.
Okay, the next question that came in, what happens if an order for multiple items, what happens if an order has multiple items but only one in back order?
Yeah, that's entirely up to you. Your business rules when you build and set the M.O.M system up will allow you to say, do you want to automatically ship ahead, meaning that you'll put those 4 or 5 items that you currently do have in stock in a box and ship them out today, and then just wait for that order to be completely fulfilled when you receive the other inventory of that one back-ordered item? Or you can set it up so that you offer the customer the option to select whether you ship them all out together or ship ahead. Send me the 4 that you have today, and then when that other item comes in, you can send it. So you have total control over that particular scenario.
Okay, the next question that came in, we have a Wine of the Month club. How do you handle inventory with club memberships?
This is a special presentation that I'm looking forward to. I'd be glad to walk you through some of our existing users that have, in fact, used our club membership feature. And yeah, basically, you know that a customer joins a club, but the way that M.O.M handles that inventory is until the actual order is processed and shipped out the door, it hasn't been picked yet. So it doesn't pre-allocate the inventory to orders that you are expecting to ship out 7 or 8 months from now. But for the current month, it will account for that particular club membership plan and get those wines properly assigned to to the appropriate location or the customer, so that the orders will be able to be fulfilled. So yeah, definitely Wine of the Month, Book of the Month, Cheese of the Month is a very neat feature that we have. I'll be glad to walk you through that in a one-on-one presentation.
Okay, the next question that came in, we currently use Magento for our e-commerce platform. How do your inventory and order management features differ than the ones that Magento offers?
Well, Magento is a fantastic e-commerce channel. They're actually one of our strategic partners. So they have some really great e-com capabilities, great reporting. The big difference is that M.O.M pretty much can handle all the back-end order processing and the synchronization with other channels. So once you get your orders in from Magento, which is one channel, you're going to want to be able to manage that inventory on eBay or Amazon or phone orders or catalog orders if you're still sending those for the traditional orders. But yeah, like the marketing and the order history and the those types of things, M.O.M handles all the rest basically, as opposed to being compared to Magento. It's actually in addition to, it's with.
Okay, it looks like we have time for one more question that came in. What online channels do you integrate with? You mentioned Amazon and eBay. What else?
Sure. I mean, we have SiteLink, which is Didacomp's e-commerce channel. We have Magento as a partner. We have Commerce V3. If you have downloadable products, you might want to look at them. We have Yahoo integration, shop site integration, storefront integration, and Miva is another strategic partner as another third-party e-com channel. And we have an import-export module now that allows you to pretty much create a file layout or map to a file layout. So it doesn't matter which channel you want to bring your orders in from. If it's a local e-commerce provider that you're using, you'll be easily be able to set up M.O.M to get those orders, download them in, as long as it's in a 2012, 2013 file format, a spreadsheet or an XML file. But stay away from those old 15-year-old technologies that still use DAT files. But as far as publishing data or getting data out of M.O.M, this current version also has a built-in API. So as far as customer or inventory or any of that information, with the exception of credit card data that's all encrypted due to the PCI compliance regulations, the API would allow you to export or get your own information out of M.O.M very easily.
Okay, thank you very much, Joe, and thank you all for joining us today. We will send you a copy of the on-demand version of the webinar, along with a copy of the slides. And as Joe mentioned, we will be reaching out to you to see if you have any additional questions. Thank you again for joining us today.